afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It was the Labor Day weekend of 2006, and my wife had asked me whether or not I wanted to go down to Mount Whitney and climb it. I thought to myself, well, that can't be too hard. I've done some climbing before. I've been over to Muir Woods in Marin, and I've taken some 2-hour hikes. And I asked a friend of mine, his name was Harold Knutson, I said, is climbing Mount Whitney hard? Oh no, Jack, it's easy. It's just like walking up a steep city street. Because when I climbed it, the switchbacks going back and forth, I went straight up. And I said, oh, this sounds good. It doesn't seem to be too bad. I think I can get a good workout. So after thinking it over, I said, yeah, I'll go down and do it. So today I'm going to talk about driving down there and starting to get a little bit worried about it. The actual hike up to the top of the mountain where things were going well, and then as things started to fall apart as I hiked down it. So as I started to drive down there in the car, I started to get a little bit nervous as my wife started talking to me about Mount Whitney. It's the steepest mountain in North America. It's over 14,500 feet tall. Then she said that we were going to hike 22 miles in one day up 6,100 feet. I started to get really nervous. And as we approached Whitney, it was so hot. As I looked out, everything was wavy. Have you guys seen that when it's really hot? And there was just rocks. And then, worst of all, I got this really ominous feeling. We drove by Manzanar, the Japanese intern camp, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is so awful. This is where they would put such a terrible place, where they're interning people. And I started to get nervous, but just shake it off. You can do it. So that night we went to bed, and the next morning is when we started. We got up at 3 in the morning. It's early. We had our headlamps we put on, and we started marching up the hill. But it seemed like a lot of fun initially as I was chomping over trees and climbing over some small rocks, and the scenery was beautiful, and I saw a few chipmunks in the road, and it seemed like this is a lot of fun. I almost feel like a Brady Bunch excursion. There was 8 of us. But after several hours, there were no more trees, no more shrubbery. The ground was just rock, and it became exposed. But I was doing all right. I was thinking to myself, I'm like Lance Armstrong. I'm in good shape. I'm leading the pack. I feel like I'm stronger than everybody. And the scenery actually got nicer too as we got up, and we could see the Mojave Desert on the right. But it also got to be steeper and harder. And I started to get a little tired, but I was making it up. And as the wind whipped around me and I was getting slower, I was the first one to make it to the top. I was really, really excited. I said, I did it. I made it to the top. And everyone caught up, and I had this wonderful view, and it was a great feeling. And I just said, it seems to be worth it at this point, at that moment. But as I turned around and started to walk downhill, I almost felt like Lance Armstrong on the bike, and my tires started to deflate slowly. Because it's so rocky, my knees started to throb. They started to ache. And then another hour or two, I had taken some altitude sickness medicine, but we had run out. So I started to feel it. And the way I felt it is my stomach got very queasy. I thought I was going to lose it. And then it's almost, I feel like Lance Armstrong with the tires are totally flat. Because I totally stopped. I said, I've got to stop. I told my wife, I can't do it. I can't do it. She goes, come on, Jack. And she tried to carry me. But then this is the differential difference between men and women. You don't realize the difference. I'm 6'3.5". I'm not a small person. So she couldn't do it. But I tried to rally. We took some breaks. I drank some water. I gulped some water. And then I kept on marching on, but then I started to have these hallucinations. I had these spavins. I started thinking about food, like French fries were from a fast food place were dancing around, a chocolate shake, a double cheeseburger. I wasn't quite there, and then I started hallucinating about, is that the road? Because I wanted to be there, but every 10 minutes, oh, there's the road, there's the car, we're almost there, and then it would just be a pine cone or a tree. But I finally did make it after 13 some hours, and we were intact, and it was a good experience. I loved seeing the scenery. I got to see a lot that I hadn't seen before. I lost 10 pounds.
One day, wow.
And when I did get down, we did go, the first thing we did do, we did stop at a Carl's Jr. I did have my cheeseburger and my chocolate shake. But for future vacations, I think maybe I just we'll have a more basic stay-at-home trip by just watching a movie, eating popcorn. But all in all, it was worth it, and I'm looking forward to my next vacation.